You know the feeling, right? That racing heart, constantly checking your phone, the way your entire day can be made or, let's be honest, broken by a single unpredictable text. There's this powerful, almost intoxicating pull to chasing someone who seems just out of reach. It's something pretty much all of us have felt. But have you ever really stopped to wonder why? Why does it have such a hold on us?
So yeah, why is the unattainable so darn attractive? It's a question that goes way deep, right into our psychology and even our biology. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on all that, really break down the mechanics of desire, and figure out why our brains are wired this way.
All right, let's start with the feeling itself. That initial spark when you meet someone who's, a bit of a challenge. It can feel so exciting, kind of like a puzzle you just have to solve. It's totally consuming, and it triggers something really primal inside us, something that actually has a name.
And that name is limerence. Now, this isn't just your average crush. Psychologists, like the brilliant Helen Fisher, actually classify it as a core attraction system that all mammals have. So think of it less like a simple emotion and more like this incredibly powerful drive. It's a drive that focuses all your attention on one person, and it's fueled by the fantasy of what could be.
So why does this feeling become so, addictive? It's not just about the person, it's really about the pattern. See, the inconsistency of the person we're chasing creates this powerful psychological hook, and it turns that initial attraction into something that feels a lot more like a craving.
So this psychological hook has a name, too: intermittent reinforcement. The easiest way to get it is to think about a slot machine. You keep pulling that lever because you don't know if you're going to win, right? That uncertainty is exactly what keeps you glued to the spot. It's the same thing that keeps you scrolling on your phone, hoping for that next great post. In a relationship, the reward is their attention, a kind text, a last-minute plan. And when that reward is unpredictable, our brains just get hooked, creating a bond that is surprisingly, and I mean surprisingly, difficult to break.
And this is exactly what that roller coaster feels like. You get a little reward, a text, a great conversation, and then radio silence. It's followed by these long periods of uncertainty and questioning. It's those unpredictable highs that make the whole thing so addictive. The good moments feel so much more amazing precisely because they're surrounded by absence, which creates this powerful, nagging craving for the next hit of their attention.
But, living on that kind of emotional roller coaster, it comes with a pretty big price tag. Over time, that chase can stop being a fun little game and start to define our entire sense of self-worth. And this is where we hit the crash.
We've now entered the danger zone. Emotional dependence. This is the moment we basically hand over the keys to our own happiness to someone else. We start to believe that our worth is conditional, that we're only okay if they think we're okay. Our entire sense of who we are gets tangled up in their actions, which are, you guessed it, completely and dangerously outside of our control.
Just look at this comparison. It makes the choice so incredibly clear, doesn't it? On the left, you're living in reaction mode. Your peace is totally fragile. It can be shattered by a text that's left unread. But on the right, you see this huge, fundamental shift. This isn't about not caring about people. It's about realizing that you can be the source of your own peace, your own worth, and your own happiness. It's about taking your power back. This is the real turning point.
So how in the world do we make that shift? I mean, how do we actually break this cycle and start building that resilient, solid sense of self? Well, it all begins with building from the inside out. And here it is, the ultimate goal: emotional independence. Now, it's so important to get this. This doesn't mean being cold or isolated or never needing anyone. It means your core sense of self is like a deeply rooted tree. It stays stable and strong even when the winds of someone else's moods or actions start blowing. Your worth is just no longer up for daily debate.
So what does this actually look like in real life? Well, an emotionally independent person operates from a place of fullness. They have their own passions, their own friends, their own life. When someone treats them poorly, they see it for what it is. They don't make excuses. They aren't out there looking for someone to complete them. They're looking for someone to share their already complete life with. Why? Because they know their worth is non-negotiable.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? Let's get practical. Here's a toolkit with real, concrete steps you can start taking today to reclaim your emotional center.
This roadmap breaks it all down. It starts with mindfulness, just noticing your thought patterns without judging them. From there, you got to figure out your why for changing, and then you can start to actively rewire your thinking.
Now, these next two are so crucial and often get skipped: practicing self-compassion and learning self-validation. And finally, maybe the most freeing step of all, learning to let go of the need to control how other people feel about you.
And that last step connects perfectly to this amazing idea from ancient Stoic philosophy, the dichotomy of control. It sounds fancy, but it's a super simple, life-changing exercise. You basically draw a line in the sand between what you can control, your actions, your thoughts, your responses, and what you can't, which is pretty much everything else. The real secret to peace is focusing all your energy on your side of that line.
This ancient wisdom really just gets right to the heart of the matter. The pain doesn't come from their text or the lack of a text. It comes from the story we tell ourselves about it, the judgment that it means we aren't good enough or smart enough or whatever. The second you realize you have total control over that story, that's when you reclaim all your power.
So, let's just end with this thought. Imagine all of the energy, the mental energy, the emotional energy that goes into that chase, into decoding texts, into worrying, into seeking approval. Now, what if you took all of that energy and you turned it inward? What could you create? What could you learn? Or who could you become? What amazing things would you have time to build for yourself?